Hey, I'm Derek, it's me, Derek, and it's Doom. PlayStation Doom. It's punch. Nope, cut the bumper 2. I'm not wasting time with this video. This one is special. We live now in a post-Doom 64 remaster world, and none of that would have happened without PlayStation Doom. I mean, we all pretty much agree that Doom 64 absolutely rules, right? Well, have you wanted to play Doom 64, but on classic Doom maps? That is PlayStation Doom in a nutshell. It is my favorite port of Doom. It is my favorite version of Doom. That was just the intro because I'm not wasting time with this video, so let's go. When Doom 3 released on the original Xbox in 2005, it marked the end of an era. The port itself is an absolute technical marvel. However, the Collector's Edition version and all versions of Resurrection of Evil marked when consoles started getting straight conversions of classic PC Doom. Finally! For nearly 12 years, Doom appeared on almost every console ever, and as we've shown you over several videos, results were generally pretty bad. Fun, but still bad. But during this era, in this ocean of Doom console ports, there is one that stands above the rest. Really one that stood alone. And can you tell which one it is? I will give you a hint. It is the one with its own cover. The one that said, oh yeah, that iconic Doom art? No, we good. Thanks though. Like, are you serious? Even new Doom recreates the old Doom cover. Like, dude, what is the balls of this game? What is your problem? But this cover really says it all. Unmistakably, it is Doom, but different. I mean, it is a badass cover on its own, but also this cover was a statement. PlayStation Doom was not your typical port. It is in fact the single best port and most complete port of Doom that's not just a straight PC conversion, which that right there already makes it legendary enough. But it is also one of the most overachieving ports in the history of video games, maybe the most overachieving. And the original team was barely involved, almost not involved at all. PlayStation Doom goes so goddamn hard. It never wanted to settle living in the shadow of the original Doom, but aspired to stand next to it. If the sheer audacity alone doesn't make it one of the most punching weight games of all time, well then the fact that it pulled this off does. But first, this part of the video is sponsored by Bloodlines, Heroes of Livin. It is a hero collector fantasy RPG where you build and defend a kingdom with your champions. But Bloodlines is all about the waifus. That's right. My favorite part about this game is your heroes can get married, make babies. Cute babies or scary lightning fire babies. And you could make your own unique legendary champions by combining the bloodlines of elves, lycans, demons, whatever. There are 800 different hybrids between any two bloodlines. And bonus, the higher your companion's intimacy, the more powerful your offspring. Is that romance I smell in the air? Or is it stinky and powerful vampire babies? Use my code in the description or scan the QR code now to not only try out the game for free, but to also get a special Halloween starter worth over $20. Oh, and also a free vampire champion just in time for Halloween. Again, check out that link in the description or use the QR code right here. Thanks to Bloodlines Heroes of Livin for sponsoring this part of the video. This is still the version of classic Doom that I personally reach for. And this is the copy that I've had since 7th grade. My mom bought me a PlayStation for my birthday when I made the honor roll. The only time I ever made the honor roll. And this was one of the first games I bought. I bought it used with my own money. And look, some hero stapled in an extra page full of codes. Oh, apparently this one's dumb. This is probably the single game I have played the most in my life. So this video is all about just one game, and I'm gonna get into it.
Okay, but there's also like the Saturn one.
But before I get into it,
okay,
we're not going to be talking about Saturn Doom. We're going to be ignoring Saturn Doom for this video because it is technically a port of PlayStation Doom, has all the exact same features, including a cool original cover. But the game itself is complete garbage and not the good kind. So this video is all about this bad boy here. Okay, we already talked about that one, Grace. I want to talk about the good one for once.
Okay.
So what is so great about PlayStation Doom? It essentially tips the scale to make Doom a horror game. What was already a gritty, dark romp through hell is reshaped into a full-on terrifying descent into hell. I'll talk about the music in a little bit, but in addition to a new soundtrack changing the mood, PlayStation Doom ran on a modified but still worthy custom engine, and with it came awesome lighting effects. Phobos Anomaly's pentagram is now a glowing red arena, rooms with pulsing lights now pulse much more slowly, and most areas with toxic waste are now glowing green, which is a nice touch. There are a few wall textures missing, but there's some nice transparency in walls. These specters have been totally redesigned, and there's technically a new enemy in the Dark Spectre, which can be even harder to see than the PC Doom's specters. Some of the skyboxes are improved, including this amazing fire skybox, which makes the levels in hell just about the most badass ever. Again, the theme of familiar, but different. Playing PlayStation Doom is sometimes playing these levels again for the first time. It all really comes together on this port's version of Ultraviolence. While some console ports have Nightmare difficulty, though in name only, PlayStation Doom can't be something it's not and maxes out at Ultraviolence. However, again, way overachieving. It makes up for this with a totally custom campaign with Doom 2 enemies on Doom 1 maps. Chain Gunners and Spectres are on basically every level now. Revenant first appeared on E1 M7. Archnotron started showing up after E2 M3. Hell, there's a pain elemental on the first level. It is still so goddamn weird to be playing an officially sanctioned version of Doom and bump into a damn pain elemental on the first level.
Oh, and PlayStation Doom was the first time Ultimate Doom and Doom 2 were packaged together. Actually, even today, id Software sells you these games separately, and I guarantee you, PlayStation owners at the time would have been happy with just the first 3 episodes of Doom. PlayStation Doom dropped November 95, just 2 months after the PlayStation launched in North America, and at the time, there was the 32X, Super Nintendo, and Jaguar ports with 3DO not too far behind. The only remotely good one was the Jaguar port, but it was on the Jaguar, may as well have been released on Mars. There was still hunger for a decent version of Doom on consoles, and that's all PlayStation Doom needed to be. But it just had to go several extra miles, packing in nearly 60 freaking maps.
Now, but to be fair, PlayStation Doom is not a total Doom package. Like all the rest, it has many missing and trimmed levels. For starters, it is another port stuck with all of the Jaguar level changes. Wait, if I do the math, the Atari Jaguar's single biggest contribution to the world were these crappy truncated Doom levels, because they for some reason appeared in almost every port. It's one of the weirdest butterfly effects. Aaron Sealer from Williams Entertainment was the mastermind behind PlayStation Doom's custom engine, and he built it from a hybrid code of PC Doom and the Jaguar port with supervision from Carmack, who was actually working on Quake at the time. You can get some insight as to how this engine works with the X-Ray cheat exclusive to this version. It's a cheat that was billed as letting you see through walls, but it is actually showing you in real time what geometry and enemies the game is rendering. It's fun standing at just the right spot and watching the skybox pop in and out of view. It is super fascinating, or at least to me, someone who has very limited understanding of how games work.
Fun fact about Aaron Sealer, this was his first time working on a 3D game, and he has been working at Valve since Half-Life 2. So yeah, he was legit.
I mean, is legit.
He is probably still legit, yes. If Aaron Sealer can't make Half-Life 3 work, then no one can.
Levels were rebuilt with Sealer's engine by the rest of the team at Midway, which explains the extra lighting flourishes and updated enemy layouts on Ultraviolence. But from what I can tell, the PlayStation Doom team could have fixed the smaller levels from Jaguar Doom, but just didn't. It's the one instance where this port doesn't overachieve, I guess. So while the levels do have more visual flourishes, the Toxin Refinery's big outdoor acid pit has shrunk, Command Center is missing the elevator at the beginning, Containment Area is missing most of the box maze, huge chunks of Pandemonium are just gone, it's missing half the levels from Inferno and Thy Flesh Consumed, though it deserves points for having Thy Flesh Consumed levels at all. Look at a UGBA port. It is also missing a bunch of Doom 2 levels, like Chasm, Downtown, the 2 Wolfenstein 3D levels, and the Icon of Sin. This means the Wolf 3D soldiers and technically John Romero's head never appear. And then the cherry on top of all that, the Arch Vial has been completely removed.
Which sounds like a ton of cut content, and I guess it is, but there are some custom levels in place of the missing levels. For example, Tower of Babel has been moved to the end of Episode 3, and E2M8 is a brand new level, Ultimate Doom and Doom 2 both have new final levels. Custom levels from Jaguar Doom are here, as well as a few new secret levels. And there is not a dud among these replacement levels. In fact, in a new secret level that comes at the end of this version's Thy Flesh Consumed, there is the Super Shotgun, meaning that you can technically get the Super Shotgun in Doom 1. And for me at least, a lot of these missing levels are ones I hated anyway. Against the Wickedly, Industrial Zone, Sloth of Despair. You mean Slog of Despair is not here? They're all gone? What are you talking about? This is a positive here. And all this works in PlayStation Doom's favor. The lighting, the new enemy placement, redesigned levels, different level order, replacement levels. All these little touches all work to make PlayStation Doom's campaign different and unique. If you only ever played classic PC Doom and you want to try a great little remix, it's been here waiting for you since 1995. If you don't want to play the PlayStation version specifically, I don't blame you. The controls get the job done. I think this game controls very well for the time, but they're definitely missing the fidelity of a mouse and keyboard. The frame rate, also good for the time, but only needed to clear the bar set by Super Nintendo and 3DO. Thankfully, there are many PC mods available, and I really enjoyed the GEC Master Edition. It stays very true to the PlayStation version, basically just fixing the frame rate and control issues without much unnecessary flair. There's PSX Doom CE as well, but I had a better time with GEC Master Edition. Sorry about these crazy names. Doom mods can be a headache, but modders are still working on new, even more faithful versions. So you have got options. Almost too many options, but you have options. There is nothing stopping you from playing this game right now. The bow on top, the thing that truly pushes PlayStation Doom from beneath the shadow of classic Doom to standing right next to it, and in my eyes, a slightly better experience, the music. I mean, if you know anything about PlayStation Doom, it's probably the music, and it's brilliant. It is full stop some of the greatest music ever composed for horror. I mean, like TV, film, or video games, it's some of the best. And I'm sitting here trying to think of the best way to describe it, but like, it sounds like hell. It sounds like anxiety, cavernous and suffocating, massive yet uncomfortably close. I mean, classic Doom was already a pretty spooky game, but PlayStation Doom is worth playing in the dark for a spooky good time. Though I'm sure for many, this is utter blasphemy. Doom is probably best known for its heavy metal tracks. I'm just gonna say, inspired by the likes of Pantera and Slayer. For example, here is the music that plays on E3M1 in classic Doom. Yeah, classic Pantera riff, Mouth for War. Fantastic opening track to a fantastic album, one of their best riffs ever. However, here is the song that plays on PlayStation Doom. Even as a big Pantera fan, I gotta say, I love this iron scraping iron hellscape. Another example here is E2M1 on classic Doom. Certified bop. Great upbeat track, but here's E2M1 on PlayStation Doom. Oh my god, it sounds like every demon in hell is chanting in unison for your demise. It's so awesome. And it's not like Doom didn't have its share of down-tempo moody songs, like E1M5 on classic Doom. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Tense, spooky. But then on PlayStation Doom? Yeah, there's just no comparison for me. And this is just my shit. I guess I'm just not the macho type. I'm just at the end of the day, just me and my feelings. I'm just a goth emo kid And this is the game for me. In classic Doom, it is hell versus a one-man war machine. In PlayStation Doom, heaven cannot hear you. You are alone against the hordes of hell. Maybe worse than alone, abandoned, marooned in a place built only for torment. It is a house of horrors I love to revisit. So I don't need no brutal Doom, give me brooding Doom. Give me gloom. And it's really not so out of place in Doom anyway. Splitting the difference between the extreme metal and the extreme atmosphere is one thing I think Mick Gordon did really well with the modern Doom games, and what Andrew Helsholt did extremely well with Dusk. It's no wonder that Helsholt got Mick's gig. Dusk is, among many things, an amazing horror game. But man, id Software and Mick really gotta bury the hatchet on this.
So you mean the axe?
But to get back to PlayStation Doom, all this came about because Midway didn't want to pay Bobby Prince royalties on his music. And as luck would have it, they had a legit musical genius on staff, none other than the great Aubrey Hodges. I have been singing the praises of Hodges for at least a decade now, but you cannot oversell that his ability to create a profoundly unsettling mood is uncanny. The pieces in PlayStation Doom tend to rely on heavy low-end synth chords, but just to give a comfy bed for Hodges' bottomless bag of electronic bangs and scrapes and unsettling demonic groans. I think why it works is that it's never very showy. His music always lies just beneath the sounds of gunfire and enemy battle cries. But as soon as that last body drops and the carnage rests, Hodges' soundtrack returns to cast that veil of dread over you once again. That is, unless you're like me and play with the sound effects turned way down and that music all the way up. And it is another example of, dude, you did not need to go so hard. So you don't want to pay Bobby Prince royalties. And I get that this was the PlayStation and Sony probably wanted to flex CD quality audio. But other PlayStation launch action games like Twisted Metal, Warhawk, Loaded, Wipeout all have standard hard-hitting rock or electronic music, and there's nothing wrong with that. Hell, I have no doubt that Hodges could have re-recorded the soundtrack with real instruments like what happened with the 3DO port, and it would have been great. If the title screen and menu music is any indication, he can absolutely bring the rock. But instead, we were blessed with an iconic piece of horror and a theme that would carry through the Midway trilogy of Doom games. PlayStation Doom would go greatest hits, and after wrapping up, Midway started work on Doom 64, a completely from the ground up reimagining of classic Doom. But they still had Aaron Sealer's fantastic custom engine, and I guess some downtime before Doom 64 was ready, so they decided, hey, let's slap together a port of Final Doom. But look, it says it's Final Doom, but it's not Final Doom. Nearly half the levels are actually from the master levels of Doom 2. There's only 5 levels? How do you only have 5 levels from the Plutonium experiment? And then, still the majority of this, 13 are from bastard levels. And on the back of the box doesn't even say that. And the back of the box just has TNT and Plutonium experiment, and then you open the instruction book. The inside cover has, there's where they hide it. They were hiding it from me. Spent my entire allowance on this game, okay? And I was excited to play Final Doom. This is not my original copy. I was so upset that I sold my first copy of Final Doom and bought it years later. Do I look like the type of guy who sells his games? What I'm trying to say is that Final Doom, hurt me personally. Alright, I've always been kind of salty on PlayStation Final Doom, but going in deep for the first time in a while for this video, okay, it's not so bad. These are some of the most difficult levels ever, even though the monster count has been slimmed down. There are still some pretty huge levels, jam-packed with monsters, but because they really stretch the limit of this engine, this game runs way worse than the already pretty dodgy original Doom. And if you know anything about the insane levels that make up the PC version of Final Doom, this isn't really that surprising. You, straight up, could not do most of Final Doom on PlayStation, at least without making huge overhauls to this engine. But it is still very shitty to call this game Final Doom when there are only 6 levels from Plutonia and 11 from TNT Evolution, and you fill out the rest with 13 levels from master levels of Doom 2. But conveniently leave that last part off the back case. The biggest set of levels from PlayStation Final Doom
aren't from Final Doom. But we still get those same cool PlayStation version touches, like on Ballistics, where the background is hellfire and the floor pulses red. It is a striking, better visual than on the PC, which has the standard red background and plain rocky floor. And when you get underground, it's just so menacing looking, it's awesome. Some levels are actually harder in this port, like on Onslaught, which is this game's final level. It is still a ridiculous barrage of monsters. There's no mancubi or spider demons, but there's a damn cyber demon. On PC, he only appears on Ultraviolence Plus, so it still offers a pretty unique take on these levels. Hodges' soundtrack for this one is also a bit underwhelming. There are some choice cuts here, but a lot of it feels more experimental, resulting in tracks that are too sparsely composed. Like he challenged himself not to lean so much on the heavy synth chords, and the results are still unsettling, but just not as impactful. It is still Hodges' signature horror, but his weakest showing of the trilogy. But it also has PlayStation mouse support, which makes the movement and aiming so much better. So, I don't know. This game bummed me out as a kid, but I've kind of come around to it. It is a fine version of Doom, and until Final Doom came to the 2020 Bethesda anniversary versions, this port was the only time that some of these levels ever came to a console. But it is still my least favorite version of Doom, because it is the most okay port of Doom. It is not the masterpiece of PlayStation Doom, nor the wonderful train wreck of just about every other version of Doom. It commits the ultimate sin for me. It is not bad enough to be special. It's just there. These games were the template for Doom 64, which has finally gotten the respect it deserves. In fact, the team basically made these two PlayStation ports while waiting on the final specs on the N64, which was then called the Ultra 64, to come through so that they could actually start making Doom 64. That didn't used to mean anything, but now Doom 64 is canonically Doom 3. We live in a post-Doom 64 remaster world, and none of that would have happened without PlayStation Doom. So it is time for PlayStation Doom to get its moment. Like I said, I think the PlayStation original holds up, but there are lots of mods out there, and here's hoping that this can come as an add-on like Final Doom was in the 2019 Bethesda Anniversary Editions. Aubrey Hodges' music is on Bandcamp and streaming. All of his Doom music, plus lots of other stuff and original horror-themed stuff, is there. I listened to it while writing this video. If you need some spooky music this Halloween season, toss the man a few bucks. He absolutely deserves it. Thank you so much for watching. This is Stop Skeletons and Fighting. I didn't actually say that at the top. We want to thank all of our Patreon supporters. Every single one of these names right here they make this show possible. A lot of our videos lately have been too long. I wanted to make a nice quick video. One of my favorite games. So it's been a while since I had just a video about one game. I guess technically two, but hope you enjoyed. Me really gushing. I got hella nerdy on this video, which haven't done in a while, so hey, and our Patreon supporters are the people that make it possible. Again, $1 is all it takes. Hey, we got more videos coming. We got a lot of stuff coming. We might have to do something. We might have to do a damn Stadia video now, because that just happened. But we have also more Zebo. We have Ouya. Man, Game Room. We got a lot of great stuff. We're gonna end this year on a bang. So I'm Uncle Derek. Producer Grace behind the camera. Our two dogs are sleeping over there. They probably need to go outside. I want to say thank you so much for watching. Stay powerful, and we'll see you again real soon.